Getting to experience what life is like in outer space is simply a dream for most people, but this dream might turn really bad for most, if not all, of us humans. After spending a year on the International Space Station, astronaut Scott Kelly returned to Earth shorter, more nearsighted, lighter, and with new heart disease symptoms that his identical twin brother did not experience. Mark Kelly, a current senator from the United States, also spent some time in space. Since almost 1,000 of Scott Kelly's genes and chromosomes function differently, even their DNA differed. On the plus side, because of how quickly the space station circled the Earth that year, he aged around 9 milliseconds less. Although not all of these side effects disappeared after a few months, the majority did, highlighting the potential health risks of space travel, many of which are yet unknown. These will intensify on challenging upcoming missions, like NASA's planned Artemis mission to the Moon and eventually missions to Mars. It would be difficult to even begin to outline all of the possible medical and psychological effects of deep space travel. Here are some of them. Space vertigo appears nearly instantly. The headaches, nausea, vertigo, and confusion might last for days, as blood and other biological fluids rush to the upper body in low gravity and remain there, expanding heads and contracting legs. The puffy face bird-like phenomenon emerges. The swollen faces of astronauts can alter their look. The astronauts can experience congestion or a persistent head cold. In weightlessness, muscles shrink by up to 1% every week, notably in the legs. Blood volume decreases. As a result, the heart becomes weaker and loses its distinctive heart shape, becoming more rounded. The heart doesn't have to work as hard in microgravity like other muscles, and without regular exercise, it will start to atrophy. Immunity is weakened after being radioactively bombarded with many immune cells dying. Immunity is weakened after being radioactively bombarded with many immune cells dying. Additionally, DNA damage may increase the risk of developing cancer. The body experiences an increase in inflammation, which could be a factor in heart disease and other illnesses. Bones deteriorate by 1.5% monthly. Spinal discs get harder. The eyeball can flatten in the head, sharpening distance vision and dimming near vision. Hearing and smell are diminished by fluids flooding the skull. The brain experiences changes in gene activity. After weeks in space, the 54 distinct genes in mice's brains functioned differently. Radiation can harm brain cells, impairing mental capacity and memory in mice. Because of irregular circadian cycles, sleeplessness is prevalent. Finally, prolonged psychological stress might result from months or years of isolation or living in close quarters with other astronauts. Emmanuel Urquieta at the Translational Research Institute for Space Health in Houston, which collaborates with NASA to research the impacts of deep space exploration, stated that space is just not very hospitable to the human body. According to him, humans developed in environments with plenty of gravity and less background radiation. The opposite is space, which disrupts the functioning of practically all of our biological systems. According to specialists, the majority of the possible health concerns associated with space travel may be somewhat reduced. For instance, exercise is highly beneficial at preserving bone density and muscle mass in astronauts. According to Lori Plout Snyder, head of the University of Michigan School of Kinesiology, she conducted studies on exercise and space travel while working as a researcher at NASA. She claimed that despite being weightless, astronauts on the space station regularly exercise for roughly an hour most days using specialized equipment to run, cycle, and lift weights. However, since lunar and Mars missions will likely entail smaller ships and last for years, it will be necessary to reduce the size of the exercise equipment and increase the willingness of the astronauts to stick with the workouts. The relatively close-in space station is also protected by the Earth's magnetic field for some of the worst deep space radiation, but the lunar and Mars missions, which are higher and farther away from the planet, will not be. Advanced shielding will be necessary for missions to the Moon and Mars, according to Urqueta, who also suggested using medications and dietary supplements to help mitigate some of the interior side effects of the residual and unavoidable radiation. While other preventive medications and minerals are being looked into, antioxidants like vitamin C and E may be able to absorb some of the harmful chemicals released after radiation exposure, he said. What do you think? Do you think life in space is still a good idea? Why or why not? Comment your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't miss out on our latest uploads. If you wish to stay up to date with the latest space updates and discoveries, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and turn on all notifications to see more of our latest videos in the future.